Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Patch Notes, a show where we cover the biggest gaming news from the week in a nice bit-sized package. My name is Drew and this episode we are covering the news from the week of December 1st, 2017. I am once again joined by the intimidatingly feminine Connor.
Oh, thank you so much!
We've awoken from our Thanksgiving-induced food comas just in time to give you guys news from the week, so let's go ahead and get into it.
Black Mesa is officially on Val time! How's that?
Good. So this is really sad news for people like me who are huge fans of the Half-Life franchise, but the HD Half-Life 1 remake, Black Mesa, has officially been delayed, or at least the full version of the game has officially been delayed once again. This isn't too surprising when you consider the game has been in development for over a decade.
That's longer than I've been alive, Drew.
It's been in development for so long that it's grown cherished by fans, and Valve has even given official approval and allowed the developers to sell it on their store, so it's like an officially licensed product. Black Mesa was released in early access on Steam back in 2015, and it was just the first two-thirds of the game that were released. The final third of the game was being still worked on, but it's been delayed and delayed over the past few years.
The last part of the game, like, way more harder to redo.
Well, the last third of the game takes place on an alien planet called Zen. And
whoa.
It's supposed to be really cool, but in the original Half-Life it's actually really lame, and those are the worst levels of the game, and it's awful. It's really bad. So the reason they're taking so much time to work on it is because they're trying to make bad levels good, basically. So they're not just like putting a new layer of paint over things and saying, ah, we're done. They're actually changing the mechanics of some of the levels and things like that. And so for these levels, they're actually having to change basically all of the mechanics, just start from scratch.
Probably made a Venn diagram to how they kept. And
Now we don't know exactly why it was delayed, and we don't know when it's delayed till, but they have announced that they will be releasing a patch this month that includes some features for the engine, some lighting improvements and things like that. So at least they are giving us something, and then they have said that they will release a blog post this month as well that will go into detail about what they're doing with the Zen levels and when the final version of the game is actually going to come out. Hopefully this game will finally see its full release at some point.
Bungie caught red-handed.
So EA aren't the only ones having trouble with loot boxes and microtransactions and everything like that. Over the past couple of weeks, Destiny fans have been delving into the XP system in the game and figured out that the game actually doles out less XP the more content you complete in the game, especially if it's in quick succession. So if you do things really fast, it gives you less XP overall. Now the reason this is a big deal is because once you reach level 20 on your character, every time you level up after that, you earn something called a Bright Engram, which is essentially just a cosmetic loot box that you can also spend real-world money on. So basically this system targeted the hardcore players who played the game a lot and did a lot of content really fast, and so they would notice that they're not leveling up as fast as they thought they were, and they'd get impatient and buy these things with real money. So Bungie responded to this by basically saying, oh shit, you caught us, but in a very nice way. They said, oh, we were looking at the data and we agree. This XP system is not doing what we thought it would do, so we're gonna remove it. So everybody's like, oh cool, they responded actually fairly quickly, this is nice. Well, they didn't realize at the time that when they removed the system, they also doubled the XP it takes to level up. So now it takes just as long, if not a little bit longer, to level up your character as when the system was in place. So they're still trying to subconsciously convince people to buy these microtransactions, and they're not being very subtle about it. I mean, they changed one system that seemed manipulative, and then they just changed it to something else that still feels manipulative. It's really... It's stupid.
But so you think they're gonna take this system now? This was just a mistake. This is just, oh, you know, we put the wrong number into the code.
Well, they've already kind of said like, oh, the XP was too much. We made it the gap too big. So we're gonna continue to experiment with how much XP it takes to level up.
So they're experimenting in the negative direction.
Yes. Add this on top of all the other things that Bungie has kind of been doing wrong the past couple weeks. They've been announcing stuff for their new DLC without really addressing all the problems, and it's just getting really bad to be an employee at Bungie right now.
I bet they wish they could Bungie jump out of this situation.
God. This past Wednesday, they did release an official blog instead of a stream promoting their new DLC, where they outlined a bunch of the stuff that they're going to change with the new DLC, or at least the updates that's going to come with it. And so they're trying to win back some good graces, but for me, it's too much. This was kind of the final straw for me. I've been playing Destiny 1 for the past 3 years, and I'm one of the most loyal people. I would always give them the benefit of the doubt for things like this. But this is like the least subtle thing they've done. I mean, it's just very obvious what this was for, and this on top of the other stuff that they've been doing with Destiny 2 or not doing with Destiny 2 that's just really upset me as a hardcore player. I'm just tired of it. I'm not going to buy the new expansion. I'm not going to buy the next expansion unless they make some serious changes. I mean, the economy in this game sucks. The end game just sucks. They're not doing anything for players like me. I mean, they're adding some new weapon tiers, but I mean, it's not going to take very long for you to get all those weapons anyways. It's just, they're not doing anything for the people who play their game the most. They seemingly don't care about those players. All they care about is about the casual players and the players who are more willing to spend money because those players don't have some huge vendetta against microtransactions like the hardcore players do. And that's really what this unfortunately comes down to. I mean, you can't even really call them Bungie anymore. They're just mini Activision or Microvision. Yeah, they're just completely focused on getting this extra revenue, and it sucks. And I feel bad for the people who work at Bungie because, once again, kind of like Sledgehammer with Call of Duty World War II, they have to do this or they're out of job. And the gaming industry is such a competitive market that, well, I don't blame them for just kind of sticking with it. They have to have that job security, so they have to go along with it. I hope they can fix things, and I hope they can make the experience better, but it's going to take some huge changes and a lot of time for them to earn my trust back.
By the way.
Right, and you have ads, you have additives, you bikers, you do a little input. I mean, there's these things that people pay extra for, they love.
Well, Grand Theft Auto Online is free to play, right. But when you're in the game, you can buy virtual currency. And when we...
So a couple weeks ago, we reported that the president of Take-Two Interactive, the publisher behind GTA, Bioshock, Borderlands, and all that stuff, said that he wanted all future games published by them to have some sort of microtransactions in them. Well, he opened his big dumb mouth again and said he doesn't really see a problem with loot boxes and think that gamers aren't really upset about the loot boxes themselves or that they cost money, but more about the fact that games are over-delivering and there's too much content. He also stated that he does not see loot boxes as gambling, which is kind of obvious considering he works in the industry and he has a personal investment in making sure that loot boxes continue to be a thing, so of course he would say they're not gambling. Now, I've said a couple times that I don't think that they're gambling. I think they're actually something worse. They're seriously manipulative, but I guess they're not technically gambling, but I seem to be on the losing side of this argument, considering a bunch of government agencies all across the world have officially defined them as gambling and want these companies to do something about it. But to go back on what he said about games over-delivering content, in his mind, gamers are upset about these loot boxes because the content in them is random, so they don't have the chance to see all the content that the game has to offer, which I guess is sort of true, but that's definitely not the root of the problem. The root of the problem is the fact that a lot of these games give you advantages in these loot boxes, especially Battlefront 2, and so it's kind of a pay-to-win system, and it's all random. So even if you spend $5 and you get a bonus, but someone else spends $5 and gets an even better bonus, then you still didn't get the same thing that people paid for, and that's the problem. It's pay-to-win, and it's also random, which is just like double whammy of bullshit.
Take two, more like take poo.
Nice. Anyway, enough of that bullshit. Let's talk about a company that, as far as I know, hasn't done anything wrong with microtransactions ever? I don't think so. Oh, wait.
EA dropped the Spaceballs on Battlefront 2.
Electronic Arts.
Time has come.
So this past week, as we know, EA has been attempting to do some damage control after all the controversy surrounding Battlefront 2. Their tactic this time is to push all the blame on Mickey Mouse, a company that has paid them to make the game in the first place. EA representatives have stated that they want to do cosmetic-only microtransactions. They wanted to do it. They wouldn't. If only the big cheese, you know, if only Wall let it fly, there would have been, oh, you would have been able to pick your head. You could have been a Twilight head. You could have been, what, I don't know what I'm talking about. They took it out. You can't do it anymore because of Disney. That's what they said.
So basically they're saying that Disney wasn't letting them do any fun things cosmetically with these characters because they own the property and they want them to be incredibly strict with how these characters look and how they appear because of the canon. But basically EA is trying to say that they couldn't do it this way, so they had to do it the pay-to-win way. They had to have microtransactions that affected gameplay some way because they didn't have anything else to put in these loot boxes since they couldn't do cosmetics. Well, that's actually a bald-faced lie because someone on YouTube named Uninspired Zebra discovered that within the files of Battlefront II there is a bunch of stuff that you can change cosmetically about your character. You can see the video here, I'm gonna edit it in, but yeah, you can see that you can change the heads of your characters to be different races if you're the rebels, or just different clans for the Empire and things like that, so you can change the look of your stormtrooper. This is the exact kind of stuff that we were talking about last episode that you could do. I mean, you can just change the stormtroopers to make them look a little bit cooler, but have it still fit in the universe, and I don't know why they didn't just put all of this stuff inside the loot boxes. If they really had a problem with filling the loot boxes with things that weren't cosmetic, well then why don't you just put all these cosmetics that you were just hidden in the files, why don't you just put those in there?
Yeah, it's not really a good excuse, because, I mean, sure, you can say that you're not allowed to do, you know, Pink Vader with a dildo strapped to his head, but you could probably do, you know, Darth Vader variant number 3, where he's got, like, the different element from the movie. I don't know. Okay, that was a bad example. It's like, give me some buckles and straps and like different like shoulder pads with cool stormtroopers from the prequels, you know? They looked all sorts of cool, and that was in the movies. That's canon. You can all that stuff.
And like, I understand, you don't have to be able to customize the heroes. Like, you want to look like Darth Vader when you play as Darth Vader, so that's not a big deal, but your regular character that you're playing as allows to have some sort of customization. Like, let us play as the different races. What's just weird is that this system isn't even included in the game. Like, it's hidden in the files, so you just can't even access it whether you wanted to or not. So I don't know why they took this out. Maybe it's a holdover from the first game, because the first game you could change your character, you could change your appearance and stuff. So I don't know why they took it out and why they hid it, but who knows. But I mean, my argument was going to be, if people want to play as a pink Darth Vader, then fucking let them. It's a video game. You don't see that because they're trying to protect their property, and I understand that, but at the same time, in a video game, you just want to have fun. If I saw a pink Darth Vader, I'd think that shit was hilarious. And you have the opportunity to do things that are both cool and in canon, but also just fun because it's a video game. You could have like the zombie Han Solo, spoilers, sorry. You could have a ghost Obi-Wan or a ghost Qui-Gon Jinn or something like that, or like you get to play as Darth Maul's legs. I don't know.
Yeah, get those little baby legs out there. You just have the lightsaber like wrapped around like a belt, so you just gotta wiggle that ass.
But all this EA stuff is getting exhausting at this point. The thing is, it's gonna keep going. They're gonna keep messing things up somehow because the story is far from over. But at this point, I've just completely written the game off. I have no interest in it at all. As far as I'm concerned, this story is already over. I just have no interest in Battlefront 2 at all anymore. Even if they fix things, I don't know, like, it would take a lot of changes to even make me interested in this. I mean, I've already looked at the game, I've looked at the gameplay, it just doesn't interest me at all, it doesn't look fun. Connor, you said you've played it, and you said it wasn't that interesting, right?
Yeah, it kind of just felt like the first 2015 Battlefront with some changes, and
Yeah, that sucks. This is like my most anticipated game, one of them, for the year. My two most anticipated games for this year, Destiny 2 and Star Wars Battlefront 2, ended up being They had a lot of potential going into them where people were like, hey, they're gonna get it right this time. And all this is just showing is that in the game industry, you don't deserve second chances.
I think, you know what I think it is? I think the developer of the head of EA is probably Jabba the Hutt.
Oh my god. No, he's Pizza the Hutt.
Pizza the Hutt!
Alright, so that's gonna do it for us this week. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I'm gonna sign off for Connor, and Connor can sign off for me.
Signing off for who? Who are you? Who am I?
We'll see you guys next week. And,
who am I? I'm Jean Valjean.
Alright, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Alright, see you guys. Jean Valjean. That'd be a really good thing to call mouths, though. You know? It's like, put this in your burp hole.
I feel like that's all this is going to devolve into. We're just going to keep referencing Poop Moon for the rest of the episode.
Poop Moon?
Poop Moon. 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 Hey, Poop Moon. Poop Moon.